The world began not with a sound, but with a color, a thin, brilliant line of gold that split the infinite darkness of the Mongolian steppe. As the sun crested the distant, sleeping curve of the earth, it poured its first light across the land, a silent, molten flood that set the vast plains ablaze. The sky, a canvas of deep indigo, bled into soft violets and fiery oranges, its immensity so profound it felt less like a dome and more like a second, inverted ocean. Here on the roof of the world, the horizon was a perfect, unbroken scene where heaven and earth were stitched together by the rising dawn. Across the endless sea of grass, shadows fled before the advancing light. The dew-laden blades, each one a slender spear, glittered as if sewn with a million tiny diamonds. Then came the movement. A tremor felt more in the soul than underfoot. A herd of horses, their coats dark and sleek, materialized from the gloom, running with a wild, untamed grace. Their hooves were a muffled drumbeat on. The soft turf, a rhythm as ancient as the land itself, their flowing manes and tails like banners of pure freedom. They ran not in fear, but in celebration, a living part of the morning's awakening ritual. To the north, the sacred Kentai Mountains began to stir. Their rugged peaks, once charcoal silhouettes, now caught the sun's direct rays and held them, glowing with an inner golden fire. They stood as silent, eternal sentinels, their slopes holding the secrets of ages. And through it all, the wind moved. It was not merely air in motion, but a voice. It swept down from the high peaks, across the plains, carrying with it the scent of time and cold stone. It was a breath that whispered of forgotten empires, of riders who had once thundered across this very grass, of songs sung under countless other sunrises. This wind was the land's memory, a timeless current connecting every blade of grass, every stone, and every creature to a past that was never truly gone. In that golden moment, the enduring bond between this majestic land and all it nurtured was not just seen or felt, but heard in the very air, a promise of continuity whispered on the breeze. The whispers on the wind solidified into stone and shadow, the golden dawn giving way to the enduring bronze of history. Rising from the heart of the land, a colossal figure sat astride a mighty steed, his gaze fixed on the horizon from which he had once emerged. The Genghis Khan statue complex was not merely a monument, it was a declaration, a titan of gleaming metal that captured the moment the empire was born. Visitors, rendered ant-like at its base, felt the weight of centuries in its shadow, a palpable force that spoke of a time when the world itself had been reshaped by the will of one man and the people who followed him. From this vantage, the steppe itself seemed to remember its former masters. In the mind's eye, the empty plains populated with the ghosts of the past. Silhouettes of ancient riders materialized. Against the skyline, a vast, silent horde moving with a unity that was both terrifying and magnificent. They were the living embodiment of the great Yasa, the law that bound scattered tribes into a single, unstoppable force. Their justice was swift, their loyalty absolute, and their unity was the very bedrock upon which the largest contiguous land empire in history was built. They moved not as conquerors alone, but as architects of a new order, their legacy one of administration and cultural exchange as much as martial prowess. Standing in the long shadow of the statue, a modern heart could feel the echo of that ancient courage. The same spirit that compelled a rider to cross 1,000 miles of frozen ground now inspired a student in Ulaanbaatar to pursue a difficult dream, or a herder to face a brutal winter with resilience. The values etched into the empire's foundation, unity in the face of division, justice over chaos, and the courage to venture into the unknown, were not relics. They were a living inheritance, a compass guiding the present. The empire had faded, its palaces returned to dust, but the spirit it forged on these windswept plains remained, a continuous thread of pride and resilience linking the glorious past to the aspirations of today, proving that the true empire was not of land, but of the enduring human will. Timeless winds that had once carried the thunder of empires now bore the quiet hum of diplomacy, sweeping from the Mongolian steppe to the sun-baked courtyards of Samarkand. In the shadow of turquoise domes and intricate mosaics that whispered of the Silk Road, a new chapter was being written not with conquest, but with a handshake. The meeting of Presidents Хүрэлсүх and Mirziёев in 2024 was a study in modern statecraft, their clasped hands a bridge spanning centuries and geography. Around them, the Registan Square stood as a silent, majestic witness, its ancient madrasas seeming to approve of this new alliance forged in the spirit of partnership, not dominion. The air, thick with the scent of blooming gardens and history, was charged with a palpable sense of a future being actively chosen. A year later, the gesture was returned on Mongolian soil. The crisp air of Ulaanbaatar filled with the vibrant, rhythmic strains of Uzbek dwara drums and the graceful, swirling colors of traditional dance during a cultural performance. Under the vast, approving sky, the shared laughter and appreciative applause of the two leaders and their delegations wove a tapestry of mutual respect. The ancient melodies of the Mongolian Morinkur answered the Central Asian rhythms, their harmonies a testament to a connection that ran deeper than politics, finding its roots in a shared human experience of art and expression. The culmination of this burgeoning partnership was a ribbon stretched taut in brilliant red, awaiting the ceremonial snip. The new Mongolian embassy in Tashkent stood as a physical manifestation of trust, its clean, modern lines a promise of permanence. Ambassador Batbatter, his face a map of earnest conviction, stood before the gathered dignitaries. His speech needed no grand oration. His quiet, powerful words spoke of a shared future built on the solid foundation of mutual respect and economic collaboration. He painted a picture not of two separate nations, but of partners walking a common path toward progress, their fates intertwined. As the scissors closed and the ribbon fluttered apart, the applause that erupted was not just for a new building, but for the tangible proof of a bond being solidified. Later, as the two presidents stood side by side, watching a sunset that gilded both their homelands, the metaphor was complete. Their friendship, this new bridge across the heart of Asia, burned with a warmth that felt older and more enduring than the very sun dipping below the horizon, uniting their nations in a shared, hopeful glow.